Picture being elected as the spiritual leader of millions, only to be accused of turning sacred headquarters into a personal den of vice and debauchery. What would it take for someone to earn such a notorious reputation? Stick around to find out how John XII, the once powerful and influential pope, managed to offend even his staunchest supporters with his controversies and shocking allegations. Hey there, history fanatics! Welcome back to the Mystery Reporter. In today's episode, we'll try to answer a rather controversial question. Was John XII the worst pope in history? Before we get started, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with all our latest content. So grab your favorite beverage and let's dive deep into the dark and twisted tale of Pope John. To understand the infamous John's reign as Pope, we need to explore the cultural background of that time. The 10th century was a period of turmoil in the papacy, with powerful Roman families competing for control. In 955, at only 18 years old, John, born Octavianus, ascended to the papal throne. He was the grandson of the influential Marozia, who belonged to the powerful Roman family known as the Theophylax. It's important to remember that at this time, the lines between political and spiritual leadership were often blurred, and the papacy was no exception. Now, let's take a look at some of the allegations made against John, which earned him the title of one of the worst popes in history. Turning the papal palace into a brothel. It's hard to believe, but John XII was accused of transforming the sacred Lateran Palace into a den of vice and debauchery. Now, you may be wondering what exactly went on in these alleged orgies. Well, sources from that time claim that he would host lavish feasts with an abundance of wine and entertainment, which eventually turned into wild, immoral parties. He was said to have openly engaged in sexual relationships with numerous partners, including married women, widows, and even his own nieces and other close relatives. Simony. As we mentioned earlier, Pope John was accused of simony, the selling of church offices and sacred objects for personal gain. It is said that the infamous Pope allegedly sold a bishopric to a man named Toto for a hefty sum of gold, which was a blatant violation of church law. Simony was not only unethical but also strictly prohibited by the church, as it undermined the sanctity of religious appointments and turned them into commodities to be used for financial gain. If you think that's shocking, hold on to your hats, because it gets even more scandalous. Blasphemy and sacrilege. Pope John was said to openly mock religious rituals and show complete disregard for sacred objects. There are accounts that claim he gambled with the relics of saints, using their bones as dice. In another wild tale, it's said that during one of his gambling sessions, he lost a significant amount of money and, in frustration, toasted to the devil, hoping for better luck. Neglecting his spiritual duties. As the Pope, John was expected to be a spiritual leader and a role model for the Christian faithful. However, he was often criticized for his apparent disinterest in spiritual matters. It was said that he rarely participated in religious ceremonies and avoided celebrating Mass. Do you think John XII was the worst pope in history, or is there another contender for that title? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Political instability. John XII's political alliances and decisions were a significant source of controversy during his papacy. He initially sought to strengthen his position by allying with Otto, the King of Germany, and supporting him in becoming the Holy Roman Emperor. By this point, it can be safe to say that this infamous leader was plagued with scandals and controversies throughout his life, so much so that even the cause of his death is still a mystery to this day. It was one of the most significant events of his papacy and sparked a series of controversies that continue to this day. In 963, the German King Otto summoned a synod, a church council, to Rome to investigate allegations of Pope John's misconduct. The synod was convened at the Basilica of St. Peter, and it included bishops and other church officials from across Europe. The synod accused John of numerous crimes, including murder, perjury, and sacrilege. The Synod ultimately deposed him and elected Leo VIII as the new pope. However, this move was highly controversial, as it was perceived by many as an attempt by the German king to assert his authority over the papacy. John XII refused to accept his deposition and continued to exercise his papal authority, leading to a power struggle between him and Leo. Eventually, Otto marched on Rome with his army and forced Pope John to flee the city. He was excommunicated by Leo and died soon after, under mysterious circumstances. There are a few different accounts of how he died, and none of them are entirely clear. One theory suggests that he was killed by the husband of a woman with whom he was having an affair. According to this version, the woman's husband discovered the affair and attacked Pope John, ultimately causing his death. This account, however, is largely unsubstantiated and may have been spread by John's political enemies to discredit him. Another theory suggests that he died during a sexual act. This version claims that he was engaging in sexual activities with a woman when he suddenly collapsed and died. While this account is certainly scandalous, there's no concrete evidence to support it. There are also claims that John XII was killed by divine retribution for his alleged sins. According to this account, he was struck down by lightning as a punishment for his immoral behavior. While this explanation is certainly dramatic, it's highly unlikely, as there's no record of a thunderstorm occurring at the time of his death. What we do know for sure is that Pope John died in 964, at the young age of 27. His death was sudden and unexpected, and it only added to the controversy surrounding his papacy. The exact cause of his death remains a mystery to this day, and it's unlikely that we'll ever know for sure what happened to him. That being said, even if we take all these allegations with a grain of salt, Pope John XII's papacy remains a prime example of how the mixture of political and religious power can lead to corruption and chaos. So, was Pope John the worst pope in history? It's difficult to say for sure, as history is often written by the victors, and the truth may lie somewhere in between the sensational tales of debauchery and a young man thrust into a position of power he may not have been prepared for. However, one thing is clear: his reign was fraught with controversy, and his name will forever be linked to a dark chapter in the history of the papacy. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow history buffs. And of course, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming episodes. Until next time, keep on exploring the fascinating tales of our past.